and hello from Sleepless in Dubai. We're filming from 25 Hours Hotel at present, and we would like to welcome you. My name's Julie Mallon, and I'm the founder of Nurture to Sleep. My background is very much anything to do about sleep, then I will want to know the answer. I'm also the mother of 3 incredible daughters, and now I'd like to hand you over to Laura, my co-host.
Yes, my name is Laura Buckwell. I'm an international event MC, broadcast journalist, and mother of 2. And we are very fortunate today to have on Sleepless in Dubai, Alanoud Badr, also known as Fozaza.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Is there anything synonymous with the Badr?
With the batter, well, not really. It is. I am a batter.
Well, actually, for everyone listening, for all of those people living under a rock for the past sort of 15 years, tell us a little bit more about your background and how you got into the sort of fashion foray.
Okay, so I'm a Saudi-Lebanese. My dad's Saudi, and we moved here a couple years back, and I went to university here, and I studied, and then while I was doing that, I actually worked in private equity, and
Wow.
I worked in advertising, and I loved fashion. It was always in the background, but I've never really went in it because I didn't take it seriously. I didn't think it was like a profession that I can actually do something with. And then it just happened. Like I was working in private equity and in a company, and I kept saving up money, and I started this blog on the side, and I started talking about fashion and stuff like that. It was one of the first blogs in the Middle East. And then after that, I started posting pictures of what I wore, and people really liked it. And then I decided to create my own label, just out of a hobby. You know what I mean? Like it was just blazers. I really liked blazers. I thought it was the forgotten.
Excuse me?
Yes, I love
Blazers
it.
especially.
I thought it was something that could dress down and dress up any outfit, and it's
Yeah.
like the forgotten accessory, you know.
So
So I wanted to make it into like something that stood alone, and so I created blazers.
And it's so interesting, sorry to interrupt
Yeah,
you, but my youngest daughter,
Yeah.
Eleanor, we were saying kind of, what would you like for your birthday? And she kept saying about this Frankie blazer. And of course, she's now got one.
Yeah.
And when I was, preparing to speak with you, and you were
Yeah.
modeling this so beautifully,
Yeah.
so beautifully.
Thank you.
But yeah, you were talking about starting off in the finance world.
Yeah.
And again, if we're looking at all these incredible brains, there's a very strong correlation between maths and art.
Yeah.
So maths and creativity. So it's very much about being an all-rounder. So it's no surprise when you were saying about having this feeling or gift about maths,
Yeah.
and yet still that your creative brain was also being supported by
Yeah.
that.
I felt it was when I was working. I loved working in private equity, but it drove me crazy. There's always something missing, and it gave me a lot of anxiety working with just numbers and working with just, things that are more for financial and business and all that stuff. I needed something more creative.
Yeah.
And my mom was like, just go paint or take a ceramic class or something. I'm like, no. I know exactly what I'm gonna do. And I just started playing with fabric, and I've been doing that since I was 4 years old with my aunt. So she really pushed me to get into the whole fashion industry, and it just came naturally for me.
So nice. So there is a Kim Kardashian link.
Yes.
So she was seen in one of your blazers, and
Yeah.
that sort of took everything off for you, basically.
It was really, honestly, the way it happened was so surreal. It was I wasn't ready. Like I started designing the blazers out of just as a hobby, and I created a label and everything, and then when I started designing my first collection, people started stopping me on the streets and all that stuff. And I was like, oh my God, imagine if I could get my brand in Bloomingdale's or Harvey Nichols. And I kept just projecting and imagining stuff. But in the process, because I was blogging, as a blogger, I was invited to a lot of press releases and press events and stuff like that. And Kim Kardashian was coming with millions of milkshakes.
Yes, I remember that.
At the time.
Yeah.
And she was like, she came for a press event. So I came there, and I had my friends that really wanted to blog as well, but they're part of the media. They all came wearing my blazers as well. So we were like a string of girls sitting in front, all wearing the blazers. And she was really into blazers then. And she noticed it and she's like, I really like your
That
blazers.
is amazing.
And all my friends are like, she designed it. She designed it.
What
And I was
amazing
like,
PR stunt,
yeah, I was
basically.
like, oh my God. And then I was like, thank you and stuff like that. And then I didn't think anything of it. My friend, who was the editor of Marie Claire Arabia at the time, had a one-on-one interview with her in the hotel room. She was wearing my blazer. I didn't even know.
You got some really good friends, by
I
the way.
really didn't know.
Seriously.
So she was wearing my blazer, and Kim was like, okay, hold it right there. I've seen this blazer before. I really like it. Do you know the designer? And how can I get my hand on it? So she called me, and she's like, babe, I'm sitting in front of Kim Kardashian. I was like, ha, ha, ha. I started laughing. I didn't believe her. I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, no, I swear, I'm sitting in front of her, and she doesn't want to continue the interview. She wants me to get in touch with you, and if you could send her some blazers. Like, what? I was in my PJs at home. And I was like, you're lying. And she's like, no. And I was like, okay, are you serious? And she's like, yeah. And she sent me a picture with a selfie with her and Kim. And I was like, I got my abaya. It's the first thing I could think of. I wore it over my pajamas. I grabbed a bunch of blazers that I thought she would like in her size. I packaged them really nicely and I ran to Atlantis at the time she was staying there. And I gave it to her assistant. Her assistant picked it up from me in the reception. And she took it. And I was like, now what?
Is that wild?
I was like, now what? And I didn't know what to do. And I'm like, listen, I can't obsess over this. I'll drive myself crazy.
Yeah.
I'm going to just forget about it. And then after a week or two, I was in the car and then I get a tweet saying, spotted Kim Kardashian in New York, leaving a nail salon wearing
the jacket.
A blazer, they didn't say the name yet, but a blazer, a really unique blazer and stuff like that. I don't know what. And then I was looking at the pictures. I'm like, that's my blazer.
Isn't that amazing?
I was like, that's my blazer. So the first person I called was my dad, because my dad never believed that fashion could get you anywhere. So he was like, what's this fashion? Go study law or something. And, so I called and I was like, Dad, you won't believe it. Kim Kardashian was seen wearing my blazer in New York. He's like, who? And that killed me. When he said who, I was like,
of course he did.
Kim Kardashian. He's
That's
like,
hilarious.
Who is Kim Kardashian? I was like, okay, give me mom.
My dad would have been exactly the
I was
same.
like, give me mom. I need to
No,
talk
this
to
is
mom.
the other way around in our house.
Yeah.
Kieran, my husband, knows every celebrity out there.
Oh my
And
God.
he'll phone the girls and say, do you know who's doing, and Kim Kardashian's doing this? And I'm going,
Oh, wow.
Who's
so
that?
Kieran's the opposite in our
Oh,
house. The
wow.
opposite.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it was interesting.
What an amazing story,
Yeah, it was
though.
very
So were you like, oh my God, I hope they tag me and all this sort of stuff? Were
It
you
was
like, how did it go
at
from
some
there?
point, like a lot of the, she doesn't necessarily, she's not going to tag, but then a lot of the outlets, they'll want to know who that blazer is from, whatever. Someone leaked that it was my design. I already had an Instagram page because everyone was pushing me to do an Instagram page. So it just got tagged and it started getting mentioned. And then Kourtney Kardashian wore it. And then all of a sudden I got a call from Lady Gaga's manager.
Yeah.
Saying
that's
that
the ultimate, isn't
they're
it?
in Dubai and they would like a blazer or a abaya if I design abaya. So I designed the abaya specifically for her, but then I threw in 3 blazers just in case.
Yeah, exactly.
Just in case. And then all of a sudden I see her in Sweden wearing my blazer.
Lady Gaga, that is amazing.
But ultimately, you are very authentic in terms of you believed in your blazer and you believed in all the different things as well.
Yeah.
If you had wanted Kim Kardashian, if you'd orchestrated it in such a way, the chances are it wouldn't have happened.
No.
So I
It's
think
really hard to get
Yeah.
to them. You know what I mean?
Fashions,
It's nice when you find a way to have them come to you indirectly, even through their stylist, because it does happen.
Yeah.
Like if you work on, that's what I say to a lot of people that want to start brands or market their brands and they're newcomers. I was like, focus on the image of your brand. Let it be known. Don't focus too much on getting it on celebrities, because even if you try to push, you're going to be spending so much money trying to get them to a stylist, and then the stylist has to convince the celebrity, and maybe the celebrity won't wear it, and you're just wasting so much money.
And then it's not authentic. It's like they don't actually
And
like
it's
it
not,
like they like your blazer.
and
yeah.
it's not authentic. And I was like, stop trying so hard. Just make it into like a cult, even with normal people. Now there's TikTokers and all these people that are making a name for themselves, talking on TikTok, doing styling videos. If you just indirectly do styling videos or work with people that and have them style and have it all over. Like when I started, I decided to, because I didn't want to take anything from my dad, and I didn't have really financial support, and I saved money. I wanted to make sure that I use every penny carefully.
Yeah.
So when I did the shoot for the blazers, I decided to use my friends who are all socialites, and they go out and party and stuff like that. I used them as models.
So you were quite
Nice.
strategic.
And they're very
then.
pretty. Yeah, they're very pretty.
You were quite strategic, but equally, do you think it was your background of working within finance that helped you? Or was it from the very beginning, maybe your parents were showing you about money and how to use it?
No, I mean, not really, but I felt like, the thing is, I've always been into marketing and advertising, and my mom was a creative director for Impact BBDO, and she's very into advertising and stuff like that. So to me, I believed in positioning your brand. Even as people, as us, we are brands. The way you position yourself, the way you choose to dress, the way you choose to sit, the way you choose to talk. You're like a walking CV. You know what I mean? You're your own walking CV. So it's the way you position yourself. That's how you're going to get like the job, or you're going to get, when you go in dressing a certain way or acting a certain way. It's all about how you position yourself, whether it's a product or yourself.
And do you see that increasing over the years? Do you think maybe 5 years, the focus wasn't so great as it is now? Or do you think it
was so much easier before?
Yeah.
Now it's a struggle for anyone to be heard, because you have so much noise. You have the TikTok that came out, and then you have Snapchat, and there's so many outlets that are showing so many things that how can you possibly get your name out there? It's like so hard.
It's so saturated, isn't it?
Exactly.
And so many things going on. But well, speaking of different sort of apps and things, podcast, Sleepless in Dubai.
Yeah.
But yeah, getting on to the sort of sleep factor. How do you sleep in general? You're obviously a very, very busy woman. You do a lot of traveling, and you go in your business.
I take my
designing
sleep seriously. Like, I even wear the Aura ring just to track my sleep, and it's done me wonders to know what my HRV balance is, and if I'm, sometimes my I notice that if I eat late.
HRV is your heart rate variability.
Okay.
So heart rate variability, and that's one of the best things about the Aura is that it gives you that.
Yeah, and it really helps, and it actually also helps me. It always helps me figure out if I'm about to get sick. It's
really?
so fun. It really tells
because of the
you.
HPV.
It tells you that let's say
temperature.
Sometimes my body temperature is elevated, and they say, okay, you're restless, you're this, you're that, and I'm like, but I slept fine. And then all of a sudden, 2 days later, I have the flu.
Yeah.
So you'll know in yourself, because you're not overly sold on any of these smart devices, are you?
I think they're not sold honestly in that,
Oh, they're not accurate, 100%. No.
And you know that they're not accurate, but
100%.
a lot of people who purchase them, they don't know that they're not accurate, and they do think that they are going to be the one-time fix-all, and they actually create so much more anxiety rather than...
That's true.
Yeah,
that's 100% true, because it is true.
And also, if it tells you, oh, you've had a great night's sleep, and actually you possibly haven't anything in... Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's not creating the most accurate picture. They're a really helpful tool, and they are definitely getting better and better.
Yeah, that's true. I honestly take it as a guide, though, as more than I don't rely on it 100%, because I know it's not accurate 100%. Yeah. But I needed something to sort of also kind of manage my heart rate, because I do have SVT.
Right.
So supraventricular tachycardia. So it's like...
where our heartbeat is like
so it's like
almost like it should be lid up, and it's lid up. So it's.
So do you have medication, or do you?
I take Enderal every day now for like 3 months.
And so is there any sort of like sleeping sort of methods that can sort of help with that?
Sleeping helps a lot. Sleeping well helps massively. When I don't sleep properly, like around 6 to 8 hours, I wake, like I will have an attack.
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's like a panic attack more.
Was it
or
more of a
less,
panic, was
More
it?
because the last time I had an SVT attack was 7 years ago.
My God,
So that's why the
wow.
doctor was like, I don't think we should do the procedure, which is ablation.
Yeah.
They're like, well, you don't need that
No.
because a lot of people manage it.
Well, 7 years ago, that's an amazing
That's
stint,
yeah,
isn't
but
it?
then
Yeah.
I've had a lot of panic and anxiety attacks,
Mm.
which mimic an
Right.
SVT. So I couldn't tell the difference, and I'd end up in emergency, and it was annoying. I went
Wow.
through hell for a month
Oh,
until
that's awful.
I kind of found my balance.
For over 30 years, our international team has launched campaigns across continents, bringing some of the world's biggest brands to life. Let our cross-cultural experience engage your audiences. Discover the Mirabelle difference at mirabelle.co.uk.
Yeah, and that's what it is. It is about finding your balance, but just in terms of how it can affect your heart in such a way is that, so there are two mechanisms that we need, two systems that we need for sleep, and one is our circadian rhythm, which is the light, and then the other one is our sleep pressure. And sleep pressure is very similar to hunger in that the longer we go without food, the hungrier we become.
Yes.
And sleep pressure, the longer we go without sleep, the sleepier we become.
Yeah.
Now, with the circadian rhythm, there's a group of cells, which is, it's called a suprachiasmatic nuclei, which just sits here behind our eyes, and it monitors everything in terms of light. Now, that's the one clock that tells all the other clocks in our body what time it is. So how many clocks, anyone I've told before, how many clocks in our body do we have? Can we remember?
Oh, I don't know.
If we have one clock here, just by the optic nerve, no?
I have no idea.
Really, I told you the very first
Oh my
podcast.
God, I can't remember it at all.
37.
37?
We have 37 clocks in our body
Where are they?
on every cell, on the heart, which is why your heart is thrown out when your sleep is thrown out.
Wow.
That's why.
Wow.
So we have clocks
I didn't
on our
think of it that
heart,
way.
on our lungs, on every cell in our body. So, you know, when the clocks go forward, like they did for summer,
Yeah.
thankfully they don't here, but when the clocks go forward, on the night that the clocks go forward in these 70 to 90 countries, on that one night, there is an increase in strokes and heart attacks on that one
Wow.
night by up to 24, possibly 26%.
That's
On that one
wild.
night. So all the A&E departments have more staff on that night in preparation. Now, when the clocks go back...
Oh my God.
Yeah. Now, when the clocks go back in October, they lower the staff in A&E because they know there's going to be a fall in strokes and heart attacks.
Wow.
Yeah.
But that must be the same in Australia then, because they have daylight savings and things as well, don't
it
they?
is. And also, do you know that, not wishing to alarm anyone, but do you know, once 12 o'clock has gone by, 12 midday, I know I am completely safe from having a stroke or a heart attack. All heart attacks and strokes occur between the hours of 4 in the morning and midday. And it's because of the clock in our heart, things getting thrown out. So the fact that you
That's
sleep well,
amazing.
I'm very happy.
Yeah, no,
And it will
I
protect
take,
your
No, I
heart.
take sleep super seriously.
Good.
Because you say, yeah, you
Because
take
of
it.
this,
Yeah.
but I've noticed that like there's so many factors as well that disturb your sleep, like eating late at night.
Yes.
That is a killer for me. My heart rate, because my resting heart rate normally would be like around 63, 64.
Very good. Very
If
efficient.
I eat late at night, and a lot of times you go out at night and you have dinner and whatever, if I end up eating and it's heavy, I wake up and it monitors that my resting heart rate is around 80.
Oh, wow.
That's high.
Which means
Yeah,
your
yeah.
heart is really inefficient.
Right.
Yeah.
Very inefficient. Now, the reason why you really struggle if you have that meal is because it ramps up your core body temperature.
Yeah.
And in order for us to get from stage 1 to stage 2 within our first sleep cycle or any sleep cycle, the body needs to fall by 0.5 degrees.
Yeah.
But because you've eaten, your body temperature has been ramped up, so it can't go to sleep. So your sleep efficiency is really poor.
Yeah.
So that's why. So
it really does affect, because
Oh,
a lot
hugely.
of people are like, no, that's like a myth, if you
No,
eat
it's
it.
not.
I was like, I'm not talking about weight. I'm talking about your sleep.
Yeah, exactly.
I know everybody panics that if you eat late, you gain weight. I'm like, I'm not talking about the weight.
no.
No, sleep is everything.
Yeah, it's definitely the
Oh,
sleep.
the
And if you don't
science-
sleep right, yes, you will gain weight.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
And do you know why you'll gain weight? I mean, a really fun fact is that when we don't sleep well, the olfactory system, the sense of smell within the brain, is heightened for really high calorific food, such as, you know, your pizza with the cheese.
So if you
and
don't sleep well, you start craving all these
you
things.
do. And also the
It's all
smell of
hormones.
pizza, which normally we might think, ugh, but when you're sleep
That's so
deprived,
true.
I know,
Yeah,
it
you just want
is.
to eat all the
I know,
time.
it is.
Yeah.
And sorry, but that's
Sorry.
because we were talking before about the two really important hormones being ghrelin to say I'm hungry. So this is really ramped up when you're sleep deprived. But it's all about energy for the body, but the body can't discern between it being, you know, an avocado or a pizza. All it knows is energy. So that's
true.
why we take it. So yeah, go on.
But you say, you know, you take sleep very seriously,
do.
but do you sleep well in general? And I know you do a lot of traveling. So is there, you know, how do you prepare for sort of long trips and time zones and things like that?
I make it a point, like when I travel to New York, for example, I make sure that I take the flight that's, let's say, early morning, so that I stay awake on the flight until I get there. By the time I get there, it's night. So by the time I get there, I'm wiped out. So I sleep at night there, and I wake up early morning, and I regulate
Fine. Okay,
myself
nice.
again, because otherwise the jet lag is gonna kill you.
Yeah. But even other things that you can do as well as doing that. So that's
Yeah.
really helpful. And again, it's about not eating on your flight because
Yeah, I
that's
don't eat at all on
Yeah,
my
that's
flight.
very,
do you
very
not?
important.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, we were
Yeah.
talking about this. How many calories are there
Yeah.
in a
In
meal?
a 6-hour flight, an average 6-hour flight, the number of calories that we consume, do you know how many? In a
It's
6-hour.
outrageous.
I'm terrified of asking.
Go on, guess.
3?
3,100.
I thought so, yeah.
3,100. And, you know, it's nothing that the airlines can do particularly, but because
Yeah,
the
I
food
thought
is at
so.
high altitude, they have to put extra fat, they have to put extra
Yeah,
sugar
I
and
thought
extra
so.
salt.
Yeah.
So
3,000 calories, literally.
3,100.
I have a
One
habit
city.
of calculating calories, so a lot of times I sit on the plane and my friend always eats and I'm like, that's like 1,200 and then she has another meal at
You're like,
dinner
"Whoa."
and I was like, that's another 1,000, and I was like, oh my god, you know. And then I can't, like, I usually take my own snacks because you
Good.
can't be on a 14-hour flight
No,
without
no.
eating or drinking
because that's the
anything.
other thing. If you're hungry, then you're not going to sleep either. So it's trying to find this balance. But definitely, say, you know, when you go to the New York, again, recognizing the body is this incredible machine.
Yeah, it is.
And it monitors, it's very accurate in terms of the light.
It really is.
We've got these wonderful, wonderful cells in our eyes, melanopsin. And the melanopsin cells monitor the different lights, and it's green and blue.
Yeah.
The green and the difference, the contrast between the green and blue light.
Yeah.
And the green and blue light in the morning is very, very different to the makeup of the green and blue light around sunset.
True.
So there's 3 times in the day to help you with your jet lag. Expose yourself to that natural sunlight in the morning. All you need is 5 minutes. Now, if you were to go to a window, for example, it would take you 50 times longer by standing at the window than if you to go outside for 5 minutes and expose your eyes to that natural light. 5 minutes as opposed to 55 minutes. So 5 minutes. And then again in the afternoon, late afternoon, that's going to, again, the eye can pick up the contrast in that, you know, there's more blue and yellow and so on. And of course, the sunset in the evening. That's really, and also that counteracts if you have to be on your phone. If you get one of the best hacks, I think, because life is really hard.
Yeah, no, I keep my phone outside the room.
Good.
Do you? That's really good.
Excellent.
I don't. I've still got. I've been
I
talking about a
had
habit
to
of-
work hard on it.
Yeah.
Because it was a
Yeah.
habit I had to break.
Yeah.
And it was instant. Like, I'd wake up, instantly check my phone. So
It's
now
like
I
an
have
addiction.
an alarm, because the alarm is on my phone. So now I have a separate alarm.
Good.
That's
And
the
my
secret.
phone is charging in the living room.
Yeah, I need to switch to that.
You do.
And we are running out of time, sadly.
Oh, I
Yeah.
can speak to you for
Do you
ages.
do you have any questions for Julie in terms of sleep or
Oh
anything
my
at
God,
all you
I've
want to
learned
ask
so
her?
much already. Like,
I know. It's
yeah,
literally like the
so
science
much
behind it is
already.
fascinating, isn't it? What about
honest-
supplements? You want any supplements? at the
Yes,
moment? Yeah.
actually, a lot of people, like, I know people are so into supplements, but the thing is, I've always wanted to ask a professional for supplements, because I feel like when I ask a friend, not everyone can take the same supplement. It depends what you need. But so far, I'm sleeping really well. It's just sometimes there's a lot of times that I wake up in the middle And it's always at 3 a.m.
So
Must
there's
be your
two
body's like
things there.
programmed to wake up at 3 a.m.
Why though?
Yeah.
So there's a number of reasons why. So 3 a.m., somewhere around 3 to 4 o'clock a.m., there is a change in the physiology of our sleep. So at the very beginning of your sleep, that's when we have that deep, deep sleep.
Yeah.
And then as our sleep wears on throughout the night, it changes into rapid eye movement, which is when that happens, somewhere around 3 to 4 o'clock. And so are you a morning person?
I am a morning person.
Exactly. So the reason why it's 3 to 4 o'clock is because your melatonin comes in earlier in the evening. So the change in your physiology of your sleep, if you like, where it becomes that lighter sleep, is your rapid eye movement around 3 to 4 o'clock. Now, again, there's a number of things that you can do to counteract that and to
how can I
wake
just
up.
stay sleeping?
So one of the things is to look at what you're doing before bedtime. That's a really important. Look at your routine.
Yeah.
Are you exposing yourself? It's like, for example, when you go to your bathroom and you have your bedtime routine, you brush your teeth, and I guarantee that you will brush your teeth around the same number of brushes every single night. But one of the things that most people don't realise, you go into your bathroom and the light is too bright. You need a dim light. That is totally...
I have a dim light.
What, in the bathroom before you go to bed?
Yeah,
totally,
you
because
have
otherwise
to.
you have
I
to.
have 3 types of lights in the room.
Yes, good.
In the bathroom.
Wow.
Okay. Now, are they LED lighting or not?
No, they're not.
Okay, so that's good, because an LED lighting is like having the screen in your room.
No.
So that's really
I can't
important.
do that. It will like just
Temperature.
my eyes, yeah.
What's the temperature of your room?
23.
That's possibly the biggest reason.
It's too warm.
It's too warm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because what happens, you see? No,
Yeah,
I
it's your
sleep with a
core.
sweater.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's fine. But your environment, the cooler, it's more that you have a cooler environment
So I have to make it
and more
cooler.
layers. That's a much better way of you sleeping and will counteract. If your room's 23, it could be better at, I would say 21. Yeah.
And did you say you have to simulate like a cave-like experience?
Yeah, and it's dark. I'm sure your room's dark. Is
It's
it
dark.
very
I can't
dark?
sleep if it's not dark.
Good. But what happens, and just to again demonstrate to you about how the temperature of the room is important, or of you, is that at night the melatonin is really high, that sleep hormone, and your cortisol is down here. Now, as the night wears on, the melatonin rotates round and your cortisol raises. Now, if you are warm, that will push the cortisol higher than we want it to be, which means it will cause you to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Wow, that's cortisol that affects
Yes.
that. Wow.
Yeah, it's the
I
temperature.
also have night sweats, which is weird because I sleep cold
Yeah.
and then I wake up drenched.
Really? Well, yeah, how weird. But then they just
But
said it's the cortisol.
apparently I've had that because I was telling my mom, and I've had
Your
that since I
thyroid?
was a baby.
Yeah, I think about your thyroid as well.
I've done it. I've tried tested.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Okay. But the temperature is definitely a reason. And I would...
I'll do that. I'll try
yeah,
that.
Yeah.
That might work actually.
Well, sadly, we're going to have to wrap up. We
I
haven't
know.
enough time. But final question, though, just
Yeah.
before we throw out. What to you is the perfect night's sleep? How do you achieve the perfect night's sleep?
Well, it's always when I sleep around 10:30 max.
Definitely.
The minute I go past 11, that's not. That doesn't work for me. Like I know that I'm not gonna get the perfect night's sleep, and then usually like I'd always drink a glass of water, and I try not to do any screen time right before I go to sleep, which is usually hard because that's how I fall asleep.
Oh,
I didn't want to say
that, but even that's a really
because I can't
important
sleep
part.
without watching Friends.
Oh, really? That's how you'll go
It makes me in a mood,
Yeah.
like because usually the whole day I'm like packed with so much seriousness that I need something funny.
Okay, so just one final bit. Sorry, no, we've got to wrap up. But so when you're looking at the screen and watching Friends, it's giving off, remember that invisible blue light. So when you have gone to bed at 10:30, your body is prepped for sleeping.
Yeah.
But when you're watching the screen, it tells your brain it is not 10:30 p.m. It's actually 2 p.m. 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So when it comes to that change, your clock is thrown off completely.
I figured.
But
I
this
just
is
didn't want to
good.
give it up. That's why I didn't want to mention it.
It's a guilty pleasure, isn't it? You can't let go
I was
of.
like, wait, I'm going to keep this for me. That's like, like if she knows, she's going to tell me,
But I think if we
Yeah.
understand why, then
I'm
it's
gonna
much more
try,
likely.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you might try, but in your head you'll be saying, no, it's not that, but it is.
But could she just
I
listen to
know.
Friends then instead
Yeah,
of watching
listen
it? Could
to
she
it.
just listen to it?
Of course you can
Maybe
listen
do
to
that.
it.
Maybe I'll listen to an
Yeah.
audiobook or something.
Very definitely. That's a really nice idea.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
There you go.
So,
Okay.
as you can see, we have thoroughly enjoyed this podcast.
Likewise.
And just again, to remind yourself, your superpower, without question, is your sleep. And you can do anything with it. So from Sleepless in Dubai, thank you.